Hey, Steven.
Hey, how's it going? Can you hear me?
Good, man. How are you? Yep.
I have, looks like I got some one-on-one time with you, which is
You
great.
do.
So
Indeed.
definitely, as you can tell, I'm very active. I definitely want to learn. I love your business model. Um, I am a lone wolf right now. I might pull in some friends and whatnot, but I know one of the methods you have is using private money, none of your own money, which I think is a great idea.
Mhm.
Do you, I assume when you go in with these deals, you have, I'm assuming capital on the side, but you prefer using private money at a higher interest rate. Why use private money at a higher interest rate when you use your own?
Because I don't have a return on my money if I use my own. So when I put my own money in, I actually pay myself 12%. And it actually comes from another company because I keep everything separate. So the money comes from a different company. And the so company A loans to company B pays company A 12%. So whether I'm paying
Uh,
myself or paying somebody else, I'd rather pay somebody else because then I'll use my funds for something else
got
as
it.
opposed to that kind of thing. So
Okay.
that's just me,
Okay.
but you just never know.
Um, and that makes sense. Okay.
Yep.
I found, I don't want to say a deal, but I think it's a deal. I have the address. I'll put it in the chat. If we could walk through it,
Yeah.
where's the chat? In Tucson, because I'm still very hesitant on the out of state doing. You're very comfortable with it. I, of course, like love to see boots on the ground. I have four rentals here. Like I'm the landlord. Like I have to do all of it. So this is what I found. It's on market. I'm not quite there yet. I'm getting the off market deals or getting the TPC where they come to me.
Mm-hmm.
But I think this one, the numbers fit. Let me see if I can share my screen too. And can you see the Zoom,
Oh
the
yeah. Okay.
Zillow?
260. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
So 260, this thing is 1,400 square feet. This thing is a, to me, it's in Tucson, great area. I think this is a bread and butter of what you're looking for, what your type of homes look like. It's
Mm-hmm.
livable, moving ready.
Okay.
They can redo the carpets, all that jazz.
Yep.
Rent, I use some other free tools. Rentcast, they say this place rents for 1790. Zillow says 1881. And so here are the numbers I put here. Asking price 260. I also looked on public record. They don't have a mortgage. So how I would like to take this down is what I would like to do is do two offers, a low ball cash offer, of course, and then do a seller financing deal where I would actually offer, depending on how I want to structure it. This is another calculator that I use from another community that I really liked the calculator on.
Mm-hmm.
260, but maybe even offer more, which I've heard you say, and get that 0% interest rate and basically just pay them $1,000 a month in a seller finance deal.
Okay.
And I'll stop there. Is there anything I'm doing wrong or anything any feedback?
No. You're using the sub 2 calculator instead of the other side. If you use the other side, it will tell you how much you can afford to pay them. So it works it backwards. So stick it over there real quick. And don't put the $1,000 in. We're going to solve for that. So you got 141.
Yeah, this was pulled off Zillow, and then $100. That's your. Well, there's no sub two insurance because it's not sub two.
No, but you're going to have to pay insurance, and it's probably going to be a little more than that. Probably about put 150 in there just to be conservative.
Okay. No HOA.
No, take out your 12% up there, and then go down. Keep going down. So now down here, the last white box, you want to put in what you want to cash flow. So for a property like that, I want to be cash flowing probably $700 or $800. So put $800 in there. So down there, you can afford to pay them $699.
Oh, damn. Okay. And then the asking price, that's nowhere near in here.
Don't care.
Oh.
Because I don't care if you pay $1 million for it. If I can pay you $699 until paid in full, who the hell cares?
Okay. So you could basically say but out of any amount, 300,000, even though 260, 70, 80, all the way to 300. The most we can give, we would be able to tell them is 700.
Well, and if you want to do 800, so now you got to remember the way the calculator works is it solves for the lowest rent. So right now it's solving for $1,790.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, at 800. So theoretically, you could go down and put $400 in there because that's really where I always want to be. So you got $1,100. So you were right on the money.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you go in and offer them $1,000 until paid in full, whether you're paying them $260 or $300, it doesn't matter. Now, because the term, you're not setting a term on it. The term is wide open.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I'll pay you $1,000 until paid in full. So that's indicating 0% interest and no end date. So it's not 30 years. It could be however many years it is.
Correct.
Okay. So then when you go to actually run the numbers, is this a 4-bedroom or 3?
3.
Okay. So hang on. So I'm pulling up another website here just to see what that says for rent rates. Yeah, it's still saying about $1,800. So
yeah.
But so even, and that sounds really low to me for what I own already in Tucson. I truly think you could probably push it. So as a lease option, you would probably be able to push it somewhere around 2,000, maybe even 2,100.
Let's do this one. Let's do
2,000.
2,000.
So put 2,000 and take that 1,800 out. But you're still, so now you can go up to $1,300, but that just changed your cash flow. So because you upped it, so put $300 there, now you're back down to 700. If you go to $1,000 at the bottom, go 700, you're all good.
Damn. Okay.
We got feedback. Okay. Okay. So that's kind of how you do it. So, but if you can solve for $400 with the minimum rents and then do your lease option, yeah, you got a deal. Yeah. So yeah, I would offer him if it's a seller finance deal. Now, how much money are you going to offer him as a down payment?
So that's where my other calculator comes in, which is kind of nice. So here's what they listed and here's what I'd offer them. And depending on how I want to do it, if I want to give them a little bit more, say, hey, as an incentive to give you a low down payment, I'll go over your asking price. So I'm going 7% over your asking price. Offering maybe 20, 30, maybe 25,000 down, and $1,000 a month.
Yeah, I wouldn't start at that high. I would start somewhere around 10,000 and see what they say.
10,000 low as a down payment.
Yeah, that's what I would do. And then you can always go up from there and just feel them out and see what they really say.
And then, maybe, and then when you do, so I like to do it like a 1-2 punch, low ball cash offer, and then the seller financing deal, and then basically incentivize them to move to it. What type of low ball is like considered inconsiderate? Like 20%, 30%, like?
How are you going to resell it? If you get a cash offer and they accept it, how are you going to turn it?
So this particular I'd probably wholesale it.
Okay, if you're going to wholesale, then you need to price it at a wholesale price. But this house here, from what I'm seeing, I would turn around and novate it. So go back to the novation calculator and work your numbers backwards and go from there. So, like on novation, they've got it at 260. You want to be less than that. And I haven't run the big 4 on it. So just go ahead and put in there. Let's say we're going to sell it for 255. So that's your novate price. Okay. And then go up above on your wholesale price or your novation price, put in there 235 and see what happens. It's not going to work. So if you look down there below, it's a negative $9,000.
Yeah.
So take it and punch it in at 2,000 or quote, I'm sorry, 200,000. Now it's a $25,000 deal. Something like that I'd look at, but they're probably not going to discount it to $60,000. They might, but that's where you come in with that cash offer at 200, and then you've still got a deal there. And if you look at the calculator, you've got $5,000 worth of repair costs, and you got $7,000 worth of concessions that I call a slush fund, which is another $12,000 you can play with, possibly. That's going to drive that 25,000 on up into the 30s.
Got it. Okay, so you would rather, so the novate, I've never done these before, so I'm still relatively new to these. So you'd rather just go straight to the novate instead of just wholesaling it out if you get.
You're going to make more money. So go down to the wholesale calculator and run it through, and you'll see the difference. So here you have to go back up. So where it has the big 4 right here, the Zillow, Redfin, PropStream, you do have to fill those in.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't do those.
To make it work. So let's just do 260 on all 3 of them, or just take out that one. It doesn't matter. And let's just use, so now go down to the bottom. So what this does is, though, it needs a little bit of repairs. It needs some carpet, right?
Yep.
So I don't know how many square feet it was. I didn't look.
14.
Okay, so put 1,400 in there and do maybe $10 a square foot. Okay, that's $14,000. That should be more than enough to get that thing ready if it's a wholesaler. Okay, so then you go over to the next area, and if you buy it 50% up to 70%, you'd have to pay 168. But let's go over what the wholesaler is going to make. Keep going. Okay, so on this particular deal, the way you have it set up, if you sell it to him at 65% ARV, he's going to make $56,000. To me, that's a little too much for that particular property.
Yeah.
Because you're already taking out the realtor fees and closing costs. So leave that alone. So go back here and on that 65, put it at 70%. Right there. Yep. Now he's going to make 43,000. Okay. That might be a deal for him. Okay. And now if you go back and if you buy it at 70%, that means you're going to make $14,000, but you also have to get it at $168,000.
Yeah. Which is not happening.
Yeah. Or is it going to be easier to get it at 200,000 than it is at 168?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what it comes down to.
Okay.
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 Does that answer your question?
It does, yeah.
Okay. But yeah, just keep that calculator work backwards. And while you're on the phone, you can sit there and talk to them and punch numbers in to see what works.
Yeah.
You know, keep your lowest rent in there. And then it's just a matter of now the down payment. Where's that down payment coming from? Out of your pocket or using a private money lender?
So that's the next question I have for you is private money.
Okay.
I definitely need to get into contact with some folks to get access.
Okay. So in that case, that's where we use 12% all the time. I'm not going to use, you can throw 12% right there. Okay. And then you can go down to, say, cash to seller, put $10,000 in. And we need to change our numbers again. We want $400 minimum. So take that 7 and push a 4. And then go back up to the top, change your rents back to the 17, whatever it was, so we can look at a real analyzation.
I don't remember what it was. 1779, whatever. And then
okay. So then you don't need to worry about that one because it only calculates off the minimum.
Okay.
So then go back down the bottom there. Okay, now you can still offer them $988, and you're going to pay your private money lender 12% interest.
Okay.
Okay. Now you don't have any closing costs in here, so let's throw some closing costs in of like $2,500. Okay. Now you can afford to hit them at 963. Okay. So, and that gives you a realistic of what you can and can't do, making $400 a month at minimum rents. Okay. So I would still come in and say, okay, I might offer them $900 a month and work my way up to 1,000 if I have to.
Okay.
Or you change up the down payment. So let's say you're on the phone with them. And while you're on the phone with him, he doesn't want 10, but he wants 25. So just punch in 25 real quick.
This is for the down payment, right?
Yep.
Oh, 25,000.
25,000.
Okay. So this is the down payment. Okay.
Yeah. As you're talking to him, you know what, Mr. Jones, I offered you $10,000 and I can pay you $1,000 a month, but you're wanting 25,000. That's not a problem. I'll give you your 25,000, but I can only afford to pay you $800 a month until paid in full. Will something like that work for you?
Got it.
And you're able to move those numbers around to what he needs and make it happen.